It took a long time in business, several years. It finally got to the point where my partner and I looked at each other and said, okay, neither of us are good at this. It needs to be done if we're going to be a successful business.
Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have another great guest on, Tomas Keenan. And the reason why I think that you should stop and listen to this is, one, just surely the name. When you hear Breakfree Academy, I mean, as a business owner, there are a whole lot of things that you face challenges and struggles when you're trying to grow, you're trying to figure things out, you're trying to manage life and not lose your mind in the process of building a successful business. So stop what you're doing and definitely listen, because Tomas and I are going to have a good conversation as we talk about his business, what he does, and his journey. So welcome to the show, Tomas.
Hey, man. Thanks so much, Terrell. I appreciate you inviting me here and hope that we can come together and provide some value for your listeners.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, before we jump into, Breakfree Academy, can you tell us a little bit about, your background and, kind of what led up to Breakfree Academy?
Yeah, for sure. So I started at the age of 16 as a professional car audio installer. And I became a certified installer before I left high school, graduated high school, and about a week or two after that, actually had a job in the field. And that was my passion for a really long time. So I spent about 22 years as a custom car audio installer. I wound up going away to different trade schools multiple times for that and really diving in deep. And it was what I love to do. Love cars, love music, and basically brought these two together and into this industry I was passionate about. So I actually started my first business at the age of 21, building custom cars in the car audio industry. And I crashed and burned it to the ground within 5 years. And I was the technician. I knew exactly what to do inside the vehicle. I was a master at the trade, but I didn't know the first thing about running a business. I didn't know about accounting. I didn't know about bookkeeping. I didn't know about ordering supplies and who's cleaning the bathroom and setting up systems and processes and everything that goes into actually building the foundation to a successful small business, and even large business, to be honest with you. So I went back to work for about 3 years for a gentleman. And in there, I was able to get myself out of the financial hole that I had put myself in with the first business. After those 3 years, I started my second business, which was Top Class Installations. Was there for 11 successful years. I had a partner in that business, and we specialized in the installation of GPS tracking and dash camera systems in commercial vehicles. So it was very, very similar to the skill set and trade that I had developed in the car audio industry. That technical role came right over to the GPS tracking. But it took about 5 years of being in business, and I had a life-altering event. And I'm a big fan, or I tell a lot of clients and stuff that I coach, when life-altering events happen, they usually force us to change or realize something that may be staring us right in the face the whole time. We're just blind to it prior to that. So the life-altering event that happened to me was my wife came to me and said, "Hey, I'm pregnant with our first kid." So my first daughter was born, and I soon realized, oh shit, it's not just me and my wife anymore. It's me, the wife, a house, 2 cars, a dog, and now I've got a daughter on the way. So it forced me to say, okay, let's reevaluate, because I knew that the business that I had at the time had a lot of potential, and I didn't know how to unlock it. So I said, okay, let me go out in this path, this journey, and find out more about how to make this business better. And that led me down the path of seeking out mentorship and a mastermind and business coaching. And I jumped in and said, oh, wow, there is so much here to learn and to know. And I'm never going to learn it all overnight. So I jumped in, and it was pretty evident over the next couple of years that my passion was becoming more, hey, this is how you build a business rather than the technical role of it. So that really transitioned me over, got more involved with coaching programs. And it's funny. So I don't own Breakfree Academy. I'm the COO of Breakfree Academy.
Mhm.
Now, I still own a couple of businesses out there, a couple LLCs and investments and so on and so forth. But at Breakfree Academy, I started as a client.
Gotcha.
So I came in on the entry level coaching mastermind program for $3,000 a year. And from there, I followed the progression path up and wound up joining the top tier program that we offer. And that forced me to get around people who were playing a much different game than I had ever imagined. And because I was surrounding myself with the right people, I then said, okay, wow, look at this. There's other people in the room. They're authors. Well, how do you write a book? And take that knowledge from them and apply it to my own life, my own business. So that's really the short version of my story. But I'm grateful for the road and the journey that I took. I definitely took my lumps along the way, and without them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Gotcha. I mean, with such a love for like that, what you were doing in the automobile vehicle and the installation space, how was it, letting go of that and then pursuing a different path?
I think letting go of anything is difficult, but I had realized that if I continue to hold on to it, it was going to stall my growth in business. So I could either be the best car audio or installer I am and be okay in business overall, or I can let go a little bit of the reins over there and the control, and I could focus on actually building and elevating my business career. And I clearly chose the latter. I saw more potential there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, I guess this next one is it's a little bit more of a selfish question, because my background is accounting and finance. So it's like, I always like to hear it. You mentioned about, not understanding, like I said, the finance side of the business. So
Mhm.
at what point did the light bulb start to go off when you started understanding and putting those pieces together? Like, what types of things, was it like an aha moment, like, oh, here's what the potential is, or hey, here's what I've been missing the whole time?
Yeah. I think it first starts to hit you when people ask you, well, hey, what's going on in your business right now? What are your sales? Well, what's your attrition rate? And they start asking these questions that you can't answer quickly because you don't know the numbers. They're not in front of you often. And then it becomes the fact, okay, cool. Well, how do you start asking questions? How do you get your numbers? Well, I look at my QuickBooks account. Okay, great. So now as the technician who's the person who's typically in the job, in the business, I said to myself, okay, cool. Let me fire up a QuickBooks account. And then I go in there and it's a whole new world that I have no experience with whatsoever. So I went in there and I started 2 or 3 different QuickBooks accounts and I botched every one of them. I said, okay, this is not my superpower. It took a long time in business, several years. It finally got to the point where my partner and I looked at each other and said, okay, neither of us are good at this. It needs to be done if we're going to be a successful business. And we went and we outsourced. Finally, we were making enough money in the company too, where it wasn't a big deal to go hire that outsourced bookkeeper. And once we hired our bookkeeper, who we still use to this day, and as a matter of fact, I just got a call with her right before you. That really fine-tuned everything, because now at any point in time during the day, week, month, doesn't make a difference. I can log into one of my QuickBooks accounts and pull an accurate P&L or balance sheet. And I can't stress how important that is. I mean, for instance, all this BS that we just went through with PPP and EIDL loans, especially at the onset of COVID, if you didn't have that information at your fingertips, you may not have gotten those loans. I had so many people that were coming to us and asking, hey, you mentioned on social media that you got a PPP loan. Well, what did you do? Well, I had my books in order and I applied. It was that simple. But if you didn't have your books in order, that application seemed like the most daunting task in the world.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I mean, I say, it's one of those things that the audience hears it from me, as I tell them, like, hey, your books are there to really help you run your business, in a more informed way. So it's always good to hear other people's experience who aren't an accountant or finance person, to hear what they had to say about that.
Yeah, for sure. We've actually added on to the services from there. As the businesses grow and it becomes a multi-million-dollar business, there's other metrics that you need to look at. And in my opinion, even QuickBooks can get limited as far as the data that can be shown to you, as far as what's actionable, what you really need to see. So we've actually gone out and outsourced a fractional CFO to come and build us custom Excel spreadsheets to really track the minute data that we need to see.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. So now, as you're coming on to, you said you started off as a customer with, Breakfree Academy, and, what was it like, I guess, say, moving from customer to, such a leadership role within the organization?
It's a great question. So again, I'll go back to progression path. So I got involved in as a customer almost 4 years ago, and we give out a lot of information. It's almost like drinking from a fire hose when you first join Breakfree Academy as a client, because there's so much information there. It's like, well, what do I focus on first? And I went in, I started consuming the online courses. I started attending some of the in-person events, the live events and whatnot. And I started immediately applying what I was learning to increase and build my businesses. There's a huge networking aspect of it too. We currently have about 750 members in our Apex Entourage program, and started networking with all these people and made connections with other people with other services and products that I wound up being able to use for my own business. So I got my name out there and started building real relationships with these people. Fast forward, I go into the top tier coaching and mastermind program. I started working one-on-one with the owner and founder of Breakfree Academy, who's Ryan Stewman, and learned an absolute massive amount from him. I mean, still to this day, he's not just a close friend, but a mentor of mine. And about 8 months into his 12-month program, I had finished everything. I had completed what we call building the machine. I had written a book. I had spoken from stage. I had established myself as the authority on social media. I had created a couple of different Facebook groups that were based around the industry, the GPS tracking industry. And I had this marketing machine on social media that was literally pumping out leads to me daily without me really having to do much. So everything's working well there. And he comes up to me. And at this point, I had been pretty vocal and said, hey, I realized after a couple of years that my passion, what I really want to do is help others succeed in business. So he comes over to me and says, hey, you did really great, and I'm looking to expand and grow this company. My time is finite. I can't coach more than what I currently do as far as clients. So I'd like to bring you on as a subcontractor, as a coach for Breakfree Academy, so you can also share your expertise and help more people. Are you cool with that? I said, okay, that sounds like a no-brainer to me. So you're actually going to pay me for the conversations that I'm already having with these people? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Sign me up. So signs me up. And this past October, so October 2019 is when I started. I spent a full year doing that and absolutely loved it. And I actually moved from New York to Dallas, Texas in September of 2020. And Breakfree Academy is based out of Dallas. And I had no inclination of coming aboard the team here whatsoever. I had just about finalized the exit of my business, Top Class Installations. And I was actually building a new business, which was in the coaching and mastermind space. And Ryan and his team reached out to me and said, hey, you've been in our ecosystem, our products, our customers, you're connected with them, not just on a business to customer relationship, but these people, like you go out to dinner with them and have drinks with them occasionally. And he's like, you just be the great fit to come in here and help us. It's like, oh man, I don't know. I have to think about this. But I thought about it for a while, and I did a pros and cons list and weighed out what was what. And I said, you know what? This is the move. And I was concerned coming from being a business owner for the past 11 years and then 5 years prior to that. So we got 16 years of business ownership under my belt. And now I'm coming in as an employee for somebody. Like, what's that going to look like for me? And basically, like any situation, it was a negotiation. We went in there, we had discussions, open and honest, transparent, good communication. This is what you're expecting from me. This is what I'm willing to do, and vice versa. And we kicked it off, and it's been pretty badass already, to be quite honest with you. Last 2 months of the year, we had the best months ever in Breakfree Academy's history.
Nice. So when it comes down to Breakfree Academy, what can, those who become, customers and clients of Breakfree Academy, what can they expect from, the Breakfree Academy experience?
Sure. Well, we're on a mission to basically elevate individuals to the top of their game. That's why we're in business. Okay. And the way that we do that is people come in and it's funny, we call it the bait and switch. And it's not a negative thing by no means. People come in and they think that they're going to learn about sales and marketing and utilizing social media. We're way more evolved from just that. That's how the company started. But at this point, people who come into our ecosystem start learning about mindset. They start learning about health and fitness. They start learning about gratitude and being intentional with their time. By the time 6 months to a year is up, this person who came into our ecosystem as a client is a completely different individual if they do the work. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool to watch people come in that may be 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight, maybe have a bad mindset, put blame on others. Fast forward a year and you see this person, they're down a bunch of pounds and they're sharp as a tack because they've been around the right people for that short amount of time.
Awesome. Awesome. That is amazing. So where can people find Breakfree Academy online, or what do they search for on social media?
Sure. Head over to breakfreeacademy.com. That's the easiest. You can also go over to one of our Facebook groups, which is Sales Talk with Sales Pros. In there, we got about 90,000 people in that Facebook group, and we share amazing content around sales and marketing and really looking to help people inside that group.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, you mentioned a couple of times about the masterminds with some of, like I said, your other companies. So are those still active masterminds that you run?
Absolutely.
So what can people expect from those, and how can they get in touch with you about those?
Sure. So we have, if anyone would like to apply for any of our masterminds, we have 3 levels to our mastermind program, which I'll go over in a second. Simply go to jointheapex.com, fill out the application. We don't accept everybody. We want that person to come in and be a right fit for our culture, what we believe in. We know we can't help everybody, but we want to help the right people. So in there, we have 3 different levels to Apex, and we have Apex 1, which is a $3,000 per year program. That does not include any in-person masterminds. However, we do have 4 events per year that people can come to in person. They are an additional charge. We also have our Apex 2 mastermind, which is $1,000 per month. And we have quarterly meetups at our facility in Dallas. And then our top tier program, Apex 3, which is our executives, they come in and we meet monthly there. It's a $36,000 per year program. And there is some badass, sharp winners in that group. Let me tell you, people who join that group, when they come in, literally, so last week was our first Apex executives meetup for the year, and the parking lot was filled with supercars. There's private jet owners and supercar owners in that group. And I'm not saying that from a cocky perspective. We just have amazing people who are winners. They are very humble people, and we all get into a room and we conspire to help each other win further in life. So it's really amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. I absolutely love it. Now before we wrap up, one of the questions that I like to ask every guest that comes on is, when you think about, your journey of where you've been and you think about where you are now, what's 2 pieces of advice that you would share with other business owners?
Yeah, for sure. Number 1, don't ever stop reading. And I don't want to hear the BS excuse that you don't have enough time, because there's this fantastic thing now called an audiobook. And if you turn it to about 1.5 or 2x speed, you can get through an audiobook very quickly. That's one of the biggest regrets that I have. When I graduated high school, I stopped reading, and I didn't pick up a real book until I was probably 35 years old. Now, I had read every technical manual and industry magazine in and around the car audio space, but I had stopped educating myself with books. So that's one of the biggest regrets I have. Number 2, you have to put time into yourself each and every day. So it's not just own your business, run your business all day long. You've got to put time into yourself. You have to worry about your own mental health, your physical well-being, as far as your exercise, you taking care of yourself, you being intentional and putting yourself first. So the way that we like to teach our clients is you wake up in the morning, you write down 5 things that you're grateful for that are currently in your life. And right after that, you get busy taking care of yourself, some kind of physical exercise. And from there, you've already won your day. So now when you go in and you start your office day at, let's say, 9 o'clock, you've already won. Whether the day in the office is good, bad, doesn't make a difference. You've already won the day for yourself.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Tomas, thank you so much for coming on. I mean, really enjoyed hearing your story, the background, the great things that you're doing at Breakfree Academy, as well as the Masterminds as well. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like our content, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you want to see more of our exclusive content, you can subscribe and become a member on patreon.com/Business Talk Library. Hey, the Business Talk Library is the place where business makes sense.